up, you all? Welcome to another episode of Girlfriends TV. Thank you all so much for supporting us and all of the love that you all have been giving us so far. What we're going to do before we start is introduce the lovely ladies that we have sitting here with us today.
So I'm Soma. I create affirmational chokers. Each one is meant to inspire women to live their life more limitlessly. So that's what I do.
I'm Alexa. I'm a content creator for Dayo Women and a visual artist for myself.
And I'm Pira. I'm an art director, freelance, and also a visual artist.
Hey, all right, y'all. So let's get into these topics.
All right, so the first question I have for you all is, what is a reassuring benefit that you get from working with the same sex? What's a reassuring benefit that you get from working with women, and do you prefer to work with women because of the reasons you're about to give us?
Jimmy, you want to start off?
Yeah, I would say it's really reassuring to know that no boundaries will be crossed, and it's something really empowering about working with women. There's like this comfort, this understanding, just working with your fellow women. So I don't know, I can't even really describe it, but it's a feeling that I have when I'm working with women, and it's like reassuring.
Yeah, well, to piggyback off of what you're saying, I totally agree. I think women are just like natural nurturers. So like when we come together and they're genuine, their energy is like really great. The vibes are like awesome, and then I'm tired of niggas, so like, I just want to, like, that's what I was telling Pierre, like I just want to meet more women, just to connect, and so we can all grow and help each other grow.
Yes.
Girl, preach.
Yes. I think another benefit is also when you work with women, you more so break down like the emotional reason for creating instead of just the art. And I've noticed like guys will create, but they don't necessarily talk about what space that art is coming from. It's just kind of like, I'm just putting out this content or whatever it is. But like with us, it's more therapeutic. Like, oh well, I decided to do this because I was going through this, and then it's more of like a therapeutic experience.
Ain't no just because of we here. Like we actually like giving y'all the art that we are reflecting from our actual lives type shit. So I fuck with that.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like with women, we all just like naturally connect. Like you said, we're natural nurturers. And like you said, with dudes, it's like, it's hard to be like eye level with them because, like you said, it's just...
We don't trust these niggas.
Yeah, like, it's just difficult sometimes. Like, I'm not gonna say we're more creative, but...
Sip champagne.
I think everything in life deserves a feminine touch. Like, it's just needed. Sometimes, like we discussed on the last episode, you can look at something, you can hear something, look at a project, and it's like, you didn't have any women involved in this, because if you did, it would be way much better.
Right.
That's all I have to say about that.
So I feel like these days, social media is basically like somewhat of a business profile type thing. So like, how do y'all feel about like what you guys post on social media? Do you guys feel like you can be yourselves? Do you feel like there's limitations? Like, how do you guys feel about social media in 2019?
Okay, I will go ahead and answer. I want to be my true self on social media, but I just feel like there's boundaries to it. As much as I feel like, lay it all out. Like, I feel like once we reach a certain point, then we can be our true selves. Like, because we were asking this question mainly about like, our daily lives, our activities. We may smoke, we may drink, we all got our own little vices, but should we post that? Because we're, what I'm saying? I don't really know how to put it, like
how to separate your personal life and then worrying about the audience.
Yeah, but you don't want to have like a whole persona. Like, I just want to be like true.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, okay, I know that like we're talking about this day and age, but like, okay, the people I look up to, like Rihanna, Kehlani, they did everything they wanted to do and they got where they were. So I'm just like, why can't I? So I just have like this battle. Like, I see what my inspirations did in the past. Like, they were all, you can name anyone. I really feel like they were their true selves, even on social media. Rihanna still had her tits out, still was smoking and all that stuff. Kehlani too, like, and I can name a bunch. I can just think of them right now. And they were their true selves. They never gave like no, business. They didn't tighten up for us or change for us. So I'm just like, it's always like, ooh, should I post this, should I not? But I want to be myself, but I don't want to give too much. Like, how do y'all feel?
Honestly, I think even with Rihanna, and a good example is really Cardi B.
Yeah, right.
That's great.
But there's really like this line that you walk, because I think if you know what you stand and what you represent, then you can kind of like, I'm posting this and kind of have a reason for it, because even though we want to be authentic, and honestly this is a really good question because it's something I definitely think about all the time, it's like, is it worth me posting this, or should I just post it like under my close friends?
Yeah, you know, you do have that close friends
because
feature.
not everything that you have as a part of your personality necessarily needs to be shared, because you have to think, I mean, is this something that's really gonna further the message and like the idea that I'm trying to create? Does this make a more solid picture of the vision that I have? And if it doesn't necessarily support that, then you can still post it, but maybe it's something for your Finsta, maybe it's something for your close friends. If it's not necessary, then some of it, if it's going to be a liability, then you should probably maybe let it go. Not let it go, but like, it doesn't have to be public, because if it doesn't have to be public, then, you know, focus on what you really want in the spotlight, and then everything else you can kind of like navigate it how you want, you know, personally.
Okay, I feel it.
Yeah.
I know for me personally, I'm not just representing myself anymore now. I'm kind of representing another brand. So everything has to be kind of calculated for me, which I hate. Like, I really fucking hate social media. Like, I can't stand it. But I just know that brands like it when you have a certain ratio of followers. And I always thought that when I got that certain ratio, I would be, you know, I'd be set, like, I'd be fine, but like, I'm clearly not. Yeah. So, and then it's also like, I can't, because I mean, I cuss a lot, and I just like, sometimes I just want to go on about how, like, you know, niggas ain't shit or something like that, but I can't. Yeah. Because of the brand that I represent and the people that follow that brand, that follow me, or when I am, back when I was actually trying to build up my social media, I'm not trying to do that anymore, but like when I noticed that people tend to like my face, like my selfies more, and that's when I got my following. But like, I don't want to do that shit. Like, I want to showcase my art. I want you guys to see that I'm more than just a pretty face and shit, and I just, it's a very thin line, one that I haven't navigated, balanced out.
I'm still figuring out.
So, you know, still working through it. When I get there, I'll get there, but I don't know. Right now, I have 2 Finstas, like, and I don't do shit on them. I just like look at artists and shit, because on my business page, I have to have that ratio and whatnot. But like on my Finstas, I'm just like, I'm just looking at artists, and I stay on there more than anything. So, and that's when I feel good when I'm not on social media.
So, do you think you guys are more of yourself on Finsta, or like?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I don't have Finsta. I see people with Finsta. I'm like, put me on. Like, are y'all just like putting out naked pics? Like, what's going on? Like, are y'all really like chilling or what?
Like, but speaking about like how you represent yourself on Instagram or whatever social media platform you use, my question is, have y'all ever felt the need to reinvent yourself or rebrand yourself, like your look or your appearance?
If so, it wasn't for like Instagram or social media, because I think at the same time, while there is being yourself on social media, there is that moment where you have to ask yourself, am I posting this because I'm trying to seem too real on social media? Like, am I posting myself smoking a blunt because I'm trying to prove to people that I smoke, or is that something I would naturally do, which for me it's not. So it's like you have to kind of ask yourself, to what point or to what extent is it I'm doing this for me, or I'm doing this to show social media that something new is going on in my life. So, I don't know. I think that's a person-to-person basis, but you know, it is a question to be asked when you are considering what you do, say, exposed to, you know, your followers and what you don't. You know?
It's tricky because it's like social media. Like, we live in a time where like social media is just like in our lives, like, period. So it's like we could be going through something and we could want to reinvent ourselves, but we have social media. So once I change my hair color, of course, social media is going to see it, type of thing. Like, once I, you know, start dressing different, like you guys said, reinvent yourself. Obviously, social media will have to see that new me. So it's like, it's not like purposely intertwined, but like it's naturally intertwined because we use social media. Like, we're in a digital age now. So, what you guys think? What you think, Alyssa?
Well, I mean, like,
right, because you're influencer, sis. Like, you out here.
I was surprised that you guys listed me, and that's like me. No, why I hate social media, because like I actually did rebrand myself for the audience and the audience that I'm trying to connect with, because it's like it was just filled with like high quality, but they were like just selfies, but it was just like, you don't know what the fuck I do.
Right.
So I had to rebrand myself. I mean, you still probably don't know what the fuck I do, but you see that my images are like quality and shit, and you see that I'm actually like on my highlights and stuff that I'm actually trying to like create and stuff, and like create like a different name. I changed my handle and everything, deleted all of my pictures, and so I mean, yeah, I'm rebranding myself just so people can know who the fuck I am.
Right. So do you think when you first started social media, or like just before, not when you first, but in the past, you're more so rebranding for others, and now you're rebranding for yourself? If you could clarify on that.
Well, I'm rebranding for myself, but I can't call myself like an artist or like a content creator or artistic director, art director, creative director, or anything, and all I have on my page is like selfies.
Yeah.
I feel like you just gotta find the balance. So right now I'm just like really just getting comfortable with what that balance is. You know, so I'm just figuring it out.
Right, and that's why I feel like it's tricky, because it's like, you know, I'm trying to figure it out too. What would you say? I don't know.
This is my third day.
It's my third day. Like, I'm trying to figure it out too. So it's just like, dang, I'm like, could be going through something, or one day, like you said, I just decide to, I'm not just going to show y'all my pretty face. I actually have real things and real passions that I like to do. So now I want to do that. So it's just crazy, because it's like, is my audience will accept that? They're so used to just seeing my selfies. Like, do y'all want to actually see my art? Like, you know, what's going on?
Okay. Well, I want to discuss a term that Amber Niche just threw around. Can anybody guess it? No, I'm not gonna let y'all do that. But she just said it. The term is influencer. My question was, what do you all consider an influencer, and can anyone be an influencer? Yanni.
Okay, I definitely feel like anybody can be an influencer, because it brings me back to the time when I was talking to my boyfriend, and I was like, oh, I gotta go out, I need to buy a fit, and he was like, that's some real influencer shit. And I was like, yeah, I ain't no influencer. He was like it's cool, it's not like a negative connotation thing, like you influence people. Like, I just feel like now influencer kind of has that whole like, well, what is they influencing? Like, they ain't no influencer.
Like,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
right.
like, so I feel like it has a negative connotation to it, but I feel like anybody can. Like, if you out here popping and you influencing others, you're an influencer.
You can do it and not even notice that you're doing it.
Exactly.
People will copy, or like you wouldn't even know.
I definitely think it's better when like you didn't call yourself an influencer.
Yeah.
Like someone else coined that term for you, type of thing. Because like if you're just walking around like already saying your job title as an influencer, it's like, okay, like that's where it can get like a little negative, like it's a little forced, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you gotta like
a little bit too many hashtags.
You feel me? Like unfortunate. What you guys think? Alexa, we just automatically have to give this question.
No, let's give it to me.
Okay, what's up, T? What's up? What you guys say?
So like y'all said, I think the term influencer is really interesting, because like you were saying, Kiana, you don't necessarily have to be a certain type of person to be an influencer. You could have 200 followers, but you do something that someone else hasn't seen before, and then they start doing it. And so I think, like, you know, it's interesting how like there's influencer in the mind of like, oh, this person is specifically on Instagram to influence the masses, and then it's somebody that may be like a photographer or a stylist or whatever that also happens to get swept under that umbrella of influencer just by being themselves and creating for themselves and, you know, just being. So I definitely think it's interesting. I think it's kind of cool how like it's the new means of marketing, because it's way less expensive than like typical marketing, because it's like all you gotta do is tell somebody, hey, here's your promo code, tell people use this when they order at checkout, and then you get your little back end payment. And so then it's like nobody has to come out the cut with like a $50K deal up front, because they're just like, oh, you'll make your money off the back end or off of exposure or whatever. So I think it's interesting and probably one of like the smartest new methods of marketing, like for our generation. So
yeah, it's definitely smart. But I don't really, no, I take that back. I do see there are some really genuine, down to earth influencers on Instagram. I don't consider myself one of them. I really don't consider myself an influencer because I don't really feel like, but I don't know if that's just me being humble or whatever the fuck, but like, I don't think I'm influencing anybody. I'm just like showing what I do and like hopefully people fuck with it. But like, you know, the influencers, they're mainly, you know, the really badass bitches and stuff like that. So I mean like,
I ain't gonna lie.
What?
I feel like a true influencer is like an underdog. Like it's a secret. Like you wouldn't even know that this person influenced the bigger name person to do this idea. Like they may have coined the term influencer, but who was they influenced by? Us. You feel me?
And that happens all the time. Like,
it really does.
Like people stealing, like, you know, like I already told you, like Mac brand is like one of my favorite brands. So like people steal like their designs all the time, and like she will not get that credit type of thing. So that's just like one example. So that's obviously like an influencer, like known since like Tumblr days type of thing. But you'll get on social media and people just like see, you know, what you're doing, but they're like bigger, they have more money, so they're easy to spike that shit and like coin it as themselves type of thing. So
but yeah, that's like the thing though, like because like these brands now are just looking for people with like a high number of followers. All the people who like have like these like bomb ass talent are just like going unnoticed because they don't have a certain ratio. And that shit pisses me off because like they're not all the time, but like oftentimes they're kind of better than what's out there.
It's always people with more followers.
It really is. It really is. I mean, I'm cool with it though. Long as my work is out there and I get recognized for it somehow, some way, I'm straight. Like until it's my turn, I'm gonna take full advantage. So I'm gonna let y'all have y'all turn. But when it's my turn, just know.
That's facts. I don't gotta be famous.
You feel
my credit.
Here.
And I hockey feel like the girls who are like the super bad bitches on Instagram, more so than being an influencer, I feel like
super bad bitches.
if that's what you want to call them. I feel like more so than an influencer, they're the influenced because someone's literally telling them wear this Fashion Nova outfit and you'll be that bitch and you'll get all them other bitches to try to be that bitch. But it's like at the end of the day, what you have normally like been wearing forehead to toe Fashion Nova.
Not forehead
to toe. So at that point, you have become the influenced, and that's not even your own taste.
Girl, you said something right there, sis.
And that's a really good point because I think a lot of times a true influencer it's not somebody who really has just a lot of followers, but it's somebody who is just doing something completely different. And if you kind of change somebody's mindset, like this one girl I follow online, she's like into sustainable living, she's into minimalism. I don't just stumble upon that on, you know, the explore page every day. So it's something like that. If you change somebody's mind and like you cause a change, I think that's literally influence.
Basically what y'all said is authentic. If you really want to influence or whatever, like it's not going to be forced, one. Two, if they see that you're really passionate about it and that's what you really want to do, then you can't help if you influence them or you change the way they looked at something, because that's genuinely how you feel and how you operate. It's not just, like Pierre said, it's not like, oh, I'm finna put on this Fashion Nova and now I'm an influencer. No, you're really passionate about what you're doing, what you're putting out. And like she said, you're changing other people's minds. You have other people wanting to do something that you just basically suggested. You didn't tell anybody to do anything. You suggested it, and they're like, you know what? That's a good idea. That's actually not that bad. I'm gonna do it. And it's as simple as that. You just stick true to yourself. But social media has made it something completely different and about clout.
Yeah, because I'm like, if we have all these definitions of like what it really is, why does, you know, social media pick the girls that, you know, have the Fashion Nova contract as an influencer? I'm like, I don't look at you guys and be like, yeah, I want to go Fashion Nova. I look at, you know, people like Aaliyah and they're, you know, promoting just minimalistic things. I'm like, oh yeah, like that's what I really want to do. Like, I see you doing something different, and I either am doing it now or I want to do it in the future. Like, you're making me change my mind about something type of thing. I don't think no one's ever looked at a Fashion Nova outfit and was just like,
it's not refreshing.
Yeah, it's not. It's really oversaturated. You know, it's really love Fashion Nova, by the way.
Fashion Nova is the influence too.
Yeah,
they jack designs from everybody. So it's like at that point, when you're like 3 levels down on the influencer food chain, it's like, do you even really want to be that anymore?
No, I'm straight.
Straight on it. Well, look, that's the real definition of influencer, y'all. So if y'all had any other definition, this is what it is.
Cat.
And let us know what y'all think. Like, let us know. Like, go to our website. We have submission boxes. Let us know, like, what your definition of influencer is as well. But, y'all, recently, we had a couple of albums drop, y'all. We got Gunna dropped the album. He got Dripper Down 2. Offset dropped his album. And, of course, Queen Solange came through with the visuals. What's your favorite?
Queen
Solange.
Everyone's okay.
Honestly, okay, bonus. It's Gunna, y'all. I ain't gonna count.
I mean, Gunna, I love Gunna. So of course we want to support whatever you do. However, how do y'all feel about like the visuals that are represented on each album?
Like cover art?
Yeah, like cover art.
I think Gunna's team tried to do something different, which I do appreciate. Like somebody trying to step outside the box. I think there's a little work to go, but I think like in terms of Solange, like she's such a polished artist from like beginning to end. Like she's so intentional, and so it's like
We have no words.
We know when Solange rolls out something that it's going to be a rollout. It's going to be like, oh, what are you doing? Yeah. Oh, this is what you're doing.
Like break the internet type.
Movie. It's a visual. She creates a visual. She creates a vibe for everything that she does. And like y'all said, she's just polished. She's just flawless.
Yeah. Honestly, I really love how she stays true to like Texas. She has those like Texas trill undertones, but Texas, but make it art. Like,
or my yeehaw shit, but fashion.
You feel me? Like I feel like what Pete said, like it's polished, it's intentional. Like she's a true artist. Like all
like
the way
she
around.
speaks about what she like. You were saying earlier, like this is not something she just put out there. Like it's something that she's actually going through. She made a tweet like, guys, I'm not gonna. She said something like, I'm not gonna, like just lay low anymore type of thing. Like I'm really about to give y'all my all. So this is like things that are really going on in her life that she will, project to the world type of thing.
But to go back to Gunna though, I do appreciate like going the extra mile, like drown. I'm finna literally drip or drown.
Cause we doubted him. I was telling Gunna like that was Photoshop. He wasn't in the water. He got me like, if Gunna said he was in the water, he was in the water. He posted an Instagram story of him actually being in the water. I was like, he was in the water. Like that shit crazy. It was fine.
Oprah Jeff. Come on.
But I don't know. I just feel like you can tell when a woman is behind the visual art, and you can tell when, you called your homeboy or your niggas for the cover art and whatnot. I definitely, I don't even think it has to be said. Like, if you look at Offset's cover, Offset's album cover, Gunna's album cover, and then you looked at everything Solange just wrote out. And I actually just followed the girl who did all her, visual arts and everything. Black women, of course. But you just see the difference of the work put in when you actually hire women versus when you don't.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It's a level of sensitivity to the mood that's gonna be expressed. There's that emotion behind whatever you're portraying. It's just a certain level that you kind of dive deeper into, I would say. Because with Solange, just you feel that work of art. It's not oh, I just see you and it's flashy, or I see, it's not surface level. It just goes a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Okay, to piggyback off of that, basically, I can just tell this is something Solange been plotting on. You feel me? Rather Offset or Gunna I'm finna just drop some shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but that brings me to the question of what matters most, quality or content, which one?
Quality.
Especially
I'd rather
get
a 3-song EP than 11, 12 song tape that I only pick 2 or 3 songs off of.
That.
Yeah. And then music is so saturated right now that if I don't hear I can hear an artist comes out with something And honestly, I may not even get to it because if somebody else comes out with something. And if I hear more buzz about what they have going on, then I may just like listen to it. Versus if I hear about your project and I don't have time just because there's something coming out every week, then it may literally just kind of get buried underneath. So quality is always going to rise up and it's going to stay around too.
And going off of what you said, I feel like that's exactly why you have to actually come through with a rollout, because everyone, like these days, like 5 people are going to drop an album on the same day, accidentally type of thing. So it's like if you didn't come with the visuals, you're not going to be first listen type of thing. Like you're not going to be the first pick. Like you're going to be like, oh, I didn't get to it yet type of album. Like, but Solange, we was already waiting at the door. We were waiting at the, like, not open the fuck out. Like literally. So I definitely appreciate like the time and effort she put in. Because it's amazing. I still have to watch her little short film.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
Still might watch this.
And I gotta finish the album too, because like you said, it's just been so much music lately.
Like, you gotta really take it in.
Yeah, I can't take it in. So I recently came across this tweet, and it really like stuck with me because it said Atlanta generates about 80% of rap trends, but we have to go to the West Coast or to New York to get a valid interview. And I kind of disagree. Like, I feel like we have those platforms for, you know, upcoming artists to thrive, but we don't really support it because, for one, people don't really listen to the radio. And the radio, like Dirty Boys and all these other, like, hip-hop stations, they really be conducting interviews out here. And I be listening because I ain't got no aux. So I'll be like, they really out here, but I kind of felt slighted about that. So what do y'all think? Like, do y'all feel like Atlanta, like, we generate the trends, but we don't offer the support, or we don't really claim our city like that?
And also, before y'all answer that, also include, like, what do you do? Like, are y'all quick to go to the Breakfast Club, Hot 97?
That's real.
Or are y'all, like, staying true and, like, going to Atlanta's media hubs first?
How do you learn about an upcoming artist, basically?
For me, it's not as much through like publications and podcasts. Like, how I know what's about to be like the next song is like when a car is riding down the street and they got their windows down, what are they playing? Like, you know, like, because that's actually what people from Atlanta in Atlanta are listening to. But Breakfast Club, No Jumper, like all those publications, they're an outside view looking at Atlanta, commenting on Atlanta, and they don't even know what it's actually like to be from here, to be a creative in this city. So it's like, I don't necessarily feel as like attracted to those publications for me, but I do know that a lot of people do look to them as like the tastemakers and the gatekeepers for that culture, which I think is a problem because you do have people like Teacup, like you guys, like Broke to Dope in Atlanta, who do try to put on like local artists and catch them before everybody else does, or before they have to quote unquote leave to go get that exposure. So yeah, I think that as a whole we could do better like looking to our local publications for that than automatically say going to like the Breakfast Club or Ebro in the Morning or whoever it may be. So because they're getting it like secondhand. It's been like the nigga already been hot for like 3 weeks, and then now y'all want to interview him. So and
then they're not reaching out to like their interns type thing, so they're not even like filling them for real. There's just someone gave them a bug in the ear. What y'all think?
Okay.
She's like, I listen to the Breakfast Club every time.
No, actually, I don't even listen to them. I know that sounds weird, but I personally, and I'm not like in the Atlanta scene like super heavy or anything, but what I've come across is like you have the people who support you, they really fucking support you, and then like but there's also a lot of people who just don't. They don't want to see their niggas win. They don't support their niggas. None of that shit. So I feel like maybe that's where that tweet was headed. But like I can't speak for like LA and shit because I don't know what it's like. But like I think there's a lot of pettiness in Atlanta. And
I said we were surrounded by cap and clout. That's all.
We are.
That's the verdict.
We are, but just like any other city.
But ours is just like youth. Like
he said, it's cap.
Like, Cap City Records. Like, but it's all good though. We on our way.
I think people in Atlanta need to realize how far Atlanta is right now.
Right.
Like has been like since forever, but like specifically right now, like we're in a really lucky position to be creatives in Atlanta in 2019. Because it's like say you were trying to do this back in like say 1990 something, and nobody was really looking at Atlanta like that, and you just steady trying to like grind to get there till you get there. But now it's like, no, people are literally looking for talent from here.
Why do I disagree? I feel like back in like the 90s, it was an easier place for Atlanta. Like we said on last episode, we had like Free Week and stuff. Like Atlanta was popping. And to go back to what you said people in Atlanta. We have to really dig deeper into that. I feel like it's people in Atlanta now. Like this generation now, it's like sleeping on Atlanta. Because if you go back to our old heads, like, you know, you sit here and ask Andre 3000 something, you're going to be like, what? Atlanta popping? Like, this is my city. I raised Atlanta type shit. So I definitely think it's the people, you know, just my opinion. I think it's the people now who sleep. Like the people now who's running to these other publications for content, and just because they didn't grow up, I guess, just a little bit earlier. Just like, you know, I'm born in 95, so I still kind of know type of thing. But yeah, I just think it's the people now who are just asleep. I think we know, because like, you know, we're in the creative scene, but like as far as the generation as a whole, they're sleeping. Yeah. But you know, that's why we got us. Like, you know,
all right, y'all. For the very last topic, we have a submission.
Shout out
you
to
all
our
didn't
website.
know we was taking submissions. So if you all haven't visited our website yet, you can visit it at www.girlfriendstelevision.com. And don't miss out the next time. But for today, I'm going to read the submission that we chose. So everybody listen. It says, love your show. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to the future episodes. So I'm in the media field as well, and I have men come to me all the time saying they can put me on and help me get a job all the time. However, every time we exchange contact information, they always ask me to hang out with them or ask me on a food date. Am I wrong for raising an eyebrow to this? I just feel like you can't trust anyone, and I also don't feel taken seriously. Anonymous submission. What are your thoughts?
Cut that shit.
That shit, sis.
Dude, like, that's why I don't, like, that's why I'm just not feeling niggas right now, because they're just, like, sketchy. There's always, like, some fucking hidden shit going on. Hidden agenda. So that's why it's important for, like, if like no one's reaching out to you, maybe you just need to reach out to more women and try to connect with more women, so at least you have a team or someone behind you, especially like if you're gonna go network with men, at least you have a support system behind you, someone who can maybe be there for you or be with you, because like, I mean, you can't travel alone, especially like you a baddie, so like, you know, so I just, you know.
Yeah. And if you feel a weird vibe, you should probably trust that. If you're like, you know, they want to meet here and they're being semi-professional, but why did they just trust whatever vibe you have about it?
Yeah.
What do y'all think? Also mention if someone's ever done that to you, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely happens.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, everyone.
Basically, I mean, from my experience, it was a dude, like, he had his own little podcast thing, so, you know, he reached out, really fuck with your word, blah, 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 you know how that go. But, shit, what you doing tonight? Excuse me? Like, I feel like if we're gonna work together or collaborate, I just want to do shit that's mutually beneficial at this point. Like, I don't have the need to fuck you, kiss you, go on a date to go to the top. Because I can do that on my own. And I can do that with my girls. So I'm good.
Exactly. No, I definitely feel that. I don't know. I feel like if that happens to you, or like just in the future, basically, if someone is just trying to tell you, like, you know, I can put you on, I can get you a job, and the first thing that they're saying is, let's go out, cut that shit off. First off, once you exchange that information, don't hit my phone unless it's for business. That's one.
Yeah.
So if you're not talking about like, hey, I got a job for you, don't hit my phone. That's why we exchange contact information, for you to get me a job, like you said, type shit. So it's like, yeah, like just, you know, from the first vibe, like Janine was saying, if it's right or if it's wrong, type of thing. But I don't know. And like, niggas need to do that shit anyway. Like, stop trying to get at girls, like trying to say that you want to put them on when you know that your intentions are just a fuck type shit.
Honestly,
that's a try.
You can give me a job, you can put me on. I would like to see it.
I would like to see it.
Before I give you anything, because like you said, a dude will get your number and be like, oh, da 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 da, and then text you asking you for lunch, asking you on a date, like you said. If it's not about what you said it will be about, do not contact me. I don't want you in that way at all.
Honestly,
So don't do it, sis. Don't do it.
Honestly, like, if we gonna meet for lunch, there needs to be like a purpose behind it.
You know?
And you need to mention that, oh, like,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Can we meet, like, not, oh, can we meet for lunch? Hey, can we meet to go over what we discussed earlier? I'm really interested in what you're working on.
Over lunch.
Not
Like,
just-
don't just, like, hey, shit, let me take you out.
Listen, and the thing is, honestly, you don't even have to approach me. If it's about business, let it be about business. If you're interested in me personally, then approach me personally. Don't, and you know, as an entrepreneur, I'll have guys and they're like, oh yeah, I like, you know, your chains and everything. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're hitting on me. So you don't even have to do that. Go to my bio, click on my personal account.
You see?
Follow me there, DM me there, hit me up there, and then we can go from there. But don't try to like sweep in there and snake in there, because you could have been up front. And you not being up front, from that instance, it already turns me off because you're not doing what you said you were trying to do. So don't even do that, because you don't even have to. And that's the thing. You don't even have to be sneaky about it.
And real quick, going off of what Alexa said, I think it's really important because she mentioned just go to, you know, reach out to more women. I do see where this person is coming from, only because, like, in this day and age, what women? Like, women are really not the dominant ones right now when it comes to our field. So it's just like, maybe she's feeling like there's no one to reach out to type of thing. So I definitely think that's why we need stuff like this type shit. Like, that's why we need more women in the industry, so we can not like think like, oh, a poppin' nigga just, you know, slid in my DM. Should I go? You know what I mean? Like, let's just come together more as women. Just so, like, for little instances like that, they won't happen, because we won't feel like we have to depend on them type of thing. So definitely want to point that out.
Moral of the story is, get these dudes your email.
Yeah,
Get them
Email
a business
only.
card.
You're not asking me for lunch of a business card. Email. You're not gonna ask me for lunch. You don't need my number. If you're trying to do business, go ahead and hit that email. That's where you can reach me, because things are getting out of hand with these dudes.
And that's a word. Thank y'all for coming out. We really appreciate y'all. Yes. All right, y'all. We will see y'all next time on episode 3. Make sure y'all tune in. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all.